Are you headed out of town? Where to? I'm guessing this trip is for humans only. Well, first, let me commend you on your decision to leave your dog at home. Many dogs are well-traveled and enjoy trips with their humans. But some dogs, especially puppies, they're just not ready. It's far better to leave a dog home in a familiar environment than take them out if he's not suited for the experience. Today, we're going to go over some tips on finding just the right person to care for your puppy. And also why a pet sitter is the best choice for Fido's care. Now, I used to offer a board and train service, and I actually don't recommend it. So stay tuned, and I'm going to tell you why. Michelle here with How to Train a Dream Dog. All right, first things first. I want you to plan ahead with your pet sitter search. It could actually take some time to find someone who can fit your trip into their schedule. And you also need time for this person to get to know your dog. Now, the more you can prepare, the better this will go for both human and canine. All right, let's talk about where to find a good pet sitter. Now, if you have a regular dog walker, that's a place to start. You're going to want to evaluate if being promoted from dog walker to full-time caretaker is the right role for them. But you do have the familiarity between your dog and the pet sitter in your favor. Now, there are also services that do screening for pet sitters and pet care. We recommend a few like Rover, Trusted House Sitters, or Care.com. And many community Facebook groups will have people who offer pet sitting services. For those people, you're going to want to do some extra reference checks, since they don't come from a service that does that for you. And if you're still coming up short, ask your vet, your groomer, or fellow dog owners for their recommendations. And when you're interviewing a dog sitter, you're going to start with the basic questions like, how well do they know dog care? And what's their experience with dog care? And what dogs have they had in their own family or life that they cared for? But then I want you to get a little bit more specific, asking about who they would turn to if something happened during that job that made them unable to continue. I have a story about why that's an important question in just a minute. So here are some other questions to ask. What kind of training have they done with dogs? What would they do if one of my dogs or your dogs went missing? Are they comfortable with large dogs and small dogs? Are they insured in case they accidentally break something really important in your home? Then I'd like you to give the potential pet sitter a few situations and ask them how they would handle it. Now, this could include encountering a reactive dog on a walk, or how to keep your dog safe if someone comes to the door. And if you have more than one dog, I would ask the sitter's experience recognizing body language that indicates stress or agitation between dogs. Even dogs who love each other can become stressed when something in the environment changes, and they might take it out in a way you don't expect. Understanding canine body language can help prevent serious altercations. You're going to also want to make sure your pet sitter's approach to dog training aligns with yours, or they're at least willing to follow your approach. One of my students, Tangela, went on a vacation with her husband. She lined up a great sitter and all was well until Tangela checked in on the trip. Now, the sitter didn't like using crates for dogs, so she let Tangela's dog, Master, sleep outside the crate. Master didn't sleep as well, so he was a little more unsettled for the sitter. To top it off, when Tangela got back, she had to revisit crate training. So make sure your sitter will follow your procedures and not add in their own opinions and routines. And if you aren't using the crate or you haven't used it in a while, this is your sign to revisit crate training before you go. Regardless of the age of your dog, I got some fun ways you can do it. We'll get back to that in a minute. Let's talk more about having a backup sitter. I never knew the importance of having a backup until my pet sitter ended up in the hospital halfway through our vacation. I was able to get a relative to drop in on the dogs, but I knew this wasn't enough for them. Thank goodness they were well trained to relax in their crate. And thank goodness I had cameras to check on them. When Pickles started to get stressed in the crate, I knew it was time to go home and fast. We had to cut our vacation short and we drove non-stop for 16 hours to get back. I'm glad we did. Now, when I interview sitters, I always ask about a backup in case something happens to them. All right, let's assume you found a pet sitter you love. Now, let's get them ready and get your dog ready. First, I want you to write out a schedule about a week before you leave, so it's the most current version as possible. Be sure to note if there are any specific times your puppy is used to eating or getting meds, or if Fido likes to play more or less at certain times. Don't be afraid to leave important information for your sitter. I want you to arrange a few meet and greets with the puppy sitter and your puppy. Go slow and work up to the sitter taking your pup out for a walk. It would be good to have the sitter come over a few times when you leave the house as well, so the puppy gets used to you not being around and at home with someone new. Now, this is also where crate training is hugely important. If other things in the puppy's life are different, at least that spot for rest and relaxation is going to remain a consistent. And if you've ever taken a favorite blanket or pillow with you on a trip, you know what I mean. And if you're starting to think the crate training needs a little revisit before your vacation, I have a crate training mini course that can help you. Our crate training mini course contains the lessons on building confidence with the pen or the crate. You're going to learn 3 fun games to play with your dog, and you'll learn how to determine if your pup is panicking and what to do about it. And if you're planning on going anywhere and have not yet started crate training, now is the time to get going. The link to the amazing mini course is below. All right, let's talk about how to prepare the pet sitter. Now, you're going to need to leave a lot of information out for your pet sitter. Now, we've already talked about the schedule, but I also want you to leave out your vet's information, the nearest emergency vet, any pet insurance that you have, your puppy's vaccine schedule, any microchip information, an emergency contact name and number in case you can't be reached to make an important decision. Now, chances are your pet sitter won't use most of that info. If the sitter needs it though, it should be available immediately. Are you taking good notes on all this good info? I hope so. Are you loving this video? My team and I put a lot of work into these weekly videos for you. And if you love it, share it, comment, subscribe, or use the super thanks to give us a tip. All right, some people ask me about using a board and train program while they go away. And they think that if the puppy or dog can learn some good manners while the humans are on vacation, what could be better? Sorry, Charlie, not my first choice or even my second choice. Really, not a choice at all. We're not big fans of board and trains, or even boarding at kennels in general. Board and train programs may seem like the perfect solution. Send your dog away, resend them back, fully trained. No, that's not how it works. Unless you actually learn all the skills your puppy is learning, and you learn how to teach him or her, it's not realistic to think you're going to get the puppy to duplicate what the trainer did. All skills aren't transferable from the trainer back home like you'd think, and puppies have to relearn all the skills in their home environment with their owner. With boarding facilities or kennels, you often end up with a dog whose schedule is altered dramatically. They might have much more time in their crate or on a cold, hard cement slab, or they might not get proper rest due to all the stress from all the barking and panicked dogs. Now, for sensitive dogs, all this overstimulation and overwhelm could really create some fear that could be permanent. Even if your dog is loving it, he will likely pick up some habits that you don't like, and you'll have to untrain later. When I boarded dogs, I worked really hard to maintain their home schedule and provide an individualized experience for them based on each dog's unique temperament. I usually limited it to 2 or 3 dogs in my home at a time. Unfortunately, I just haven't found any other boarding situations like that. So I would always use a pet sitter that comes to stay at my home. I went into a little more detail on board and trains in this video, including other training options that are good and not so good. Check that out if you want to go deeper into the best way to train your puppy. Now, I want to warn you about one final thing that might happen when you leave. Your dog will act differently. It's normal for a dog's appetite and energy level to change when something big changes in his home life. You can leave his familiar toys, enrichment activities, and even teach the sitter a few of the training games. I also want you to learn more about what helps your dog relax and teach it to the sitter. If you're not sure what that is, take a look at this video next and try out some of the tips I share. Then you can teach them to your sitter. Be sure to teach your sitter about decompression walks too. Oh, you can also leave a shirt or a blanket that smells like you, his favorite humans. I hope I've helped you get ready for your trip. And just remember that part of the trip planning and budgeting means planning for the dog. Don't let him be an afterthought. In the comments below, tell me, are you headed somewhere amazing? And if you've lined up a pet sitter yet, let me know. This is Michele Lennon, your favorite dog trainer and puppy professional, signing off.